Well, hello again, everyone. Probably it goes without saying, this has been a busy month, but this month, for some very unusual reasons, probably many of you have heard about the historic flooding that took place in the city of Chennai. Right at the time I was there during that time, we were conducting our School of the Wisdom. Many things were going on, but it was a rain and a flooding unlike anything I've seen. So that's something that we still have some recovery to go through, but at the Adyar campus itself, we were quite fortunate. You'll get to see some pictures of that, but the rest of the city, and actually some of our workers, many of our workers, were severely impacted by the flooding. So we'll get the chance to talk a little bit about that and to show you some photos about all the things going on there. During the course of this month, beside the rain, which was the major story, this would normally be the time that we would be making our preparations for the annual International Convention, which this year begins on New Year's Eve, December 31st. So that's something that was delayed by and also impacted by the rains, but we're on what is described as a war footing, which is just to say that everybody is mobilized right now, and we're trying to get things up in shape there. The good part about it is that so much of this has been done so many times by the people who are there that a certain routine people are aware of. So the convention's going to go on just as planned. As said, in Adyar, there really is limited impact. I'll show you some of the things that were impacted, the school being one of them. So that's the big news. We also were well along the way with the putting up of our Adyar Theater roof, a beautiful structure. The rains also impacted that, delaying it and then also setting us back significantly. So as it stands now, we're looking to have that completed, but in any event, it'll be up sufficiently for us to have our convention in brand new quarters. Really quite lovely. So a lot of things going to show you about that. This is the Christmas season, and so I want to just send a special wish out to all of the members, all of the people who tune into this monthly blog. It's a very special time. Right now, I've come back to the U.S. to celebrate Christmas with my family here. So that's something I'm going to do and then head back to Adyar. So sending you all a wish for the happiest of holidays, hopefully with family, with friends, and also with the remembrance that this is a time when many of the inner forces are so much more readily available to us. And because it's a time when we can concentrate so easily on those things. So anyway, here comes the rest of the blog. I'll show you some photos and take you around the world, this time almost exclusively in India. So hope you enjoy it, and Merry Christmas. On November 17th, Founders Day, we unveiled the bust of HPB that had been donated by a philanthropic organization in Moscow, Russia. Dialogue of Cultures Unite the World. So in the meantime, the temple of Mylapore and other places in Chennai, they were preparing for the monsoon, which was supposed to have come in October, but had not. At the campus, we were trying to do some things for internet access, point-to-point access for about over a kilometer from Leadbeater Chambers, all the way from the headquarters. The roof at Adyar began. 1.5 ton of tensile membrane fabric was brought. They started to hoist it up. It was an area that didn't have access to a crane, so they were doing a lot of it the old-fashioned way. I was quite surprised by the strength of the material. They 1.5 tons, and it was hoisted up by a 2-inch strip of the fabric, as you can see here. That was all that it took to hoist the whole thing up to the top. First day, they got it up, and then the things began thereafter. We had a very promising start, and it looked to be quite a beautiful arrangement as the fabric unfurled. It's a beautiful sculptural look that started to take place. Three of the sides were up, but there were some difficulties in getting the rest. So it had to wait because very soon thereafter the rain started. But we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Also while there, someone who had been supplying paper to our TPH publishing operation, his family had been supplying paper for about 50 years. His son was getting married, so went to a traditional Brahmin wedding with all of the gifts being given between husband and wife to be. Very beautiful, very complicated affair. The adornments were just wonderful. And so International Secretary, myself, the General Manager, and the Treasurer all attended that particular occasion. And one of them, at the end, I understood about tying the knot, then you fill the flowers. So then the rains began, and seemed as if they would never stop. For a moment there, it felt as if we might need an ark soon. Throughout the city of Chennai, all the streets were inundated. This is a map of all of the inundated streets in the city. On our campus, although we were not as badly hit as much, we did have flooding, particularly because there was a hole that was made in one of the walls so that water could drain from one of the local villages. One of the things that did happen was that the flood brought its waters all the way up to the base of the headquarters building, which you'll see right there. On this particular day, this is one day, the next day, the tsunami had not reached the base, the red base of the headquarters. But these waters, you can see where the waters had swelled in the Adyar River, and it made it all the way up to the headquarters building, a little bit farther later in the day. So it was something that was some concern. We actually moved some things out of the archives just in case. This is an island, the way it existed before the flooding, and this is during. All you see is the tops of trees. The island has disappeared. So throughout the campus, here near Arundel House, we had flooding. Otherwise, much of the campus remained untouched, although we found the weaknesses. Anything that could leak did leak. But Arundel House, the Vice President's house, those things actually got flooding on the ground floor. Other pathways throughout the campus flooded as well. Driving, you sometimes didn't know exactly where the road was. It brought out wildlife. Here's a jackal. And the egrets, who normally inhabit the water of the river, it was moving much too fast. One consequence was it brought down the work that had been done with the Adyar Theater. Other places it caused complications. Grocery stores were packed. Told you about the walls where they had broken the holes in our walls in order to drain the water that had built up to 8 feet behind here. Our own generator, which we got last year, brand spanking new, replaced the 45-year-old one. It failed, and we were eating by candlelight at LBC and elsewhere. The Olcott Memorial School also had flooding. Here's a trough that was made to drain it. It was probably the hardest hit of everything. As a result of the flooding, many of our workers were actually experiencing hunger. Their homes, they had lost everything. So we made arrangements sort of on the spot to feed 130 of our workers there. So every day for the next month, we're going to be sure that they're fed. All of those who need that sort of thing, and many, it turned out, do. The preparations for the convention went on. These garbage cans we're going to be placing all over the campus. Also, the New Zealand section of the Theosophical Society made a donation to replace every single mattress in Leadbeater Chambers. So those mattresses were taken out. They're good mattresses. They'll be used elsewhere. But new mattresses were brought in. So 120 mattresses in all were replaced by brand new ones that will get good wear over the years. Then it was back to the United States to celebrate Christmas with the family. So at our Olcott National Headquarters, we had just installed an LED sign by the road, which shows our programs and upcoming events. gotten quite a lot of attention. And we had our Christmas party, which is always a lovely time. Always we invite the children from the Prairie School. This time they got a chance to sing a song for us. So the kids sang a few songs for us. Here's one of them. Then it was stories for the young and the old alike, and of course Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without Santa, the real Santa. Merry Christmas, everyone.